Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Thursday, the 19th of June. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this morning by Chris Jack. How goes it, Chris?
Oh, good. I had a rare trip into our office yesterday. Johnny had a staff meeting yesterday morning, so a chance to catch up with a few of the faces that you don't usually see. And Johnny even bought a coffee for me and Josh afterwards. So you can't say can't say fairer than that.
Wow.
Mike gets a hard time on here, but if that doesn't give him a bit of kudos, then nothing will. So apart from that, all fine.
Yeah, good stuff. Excellent. It's a warm one out there today. It's going to be 28 degrees down here, which is sweltering stuff. Beer garden weather. Just make sure if you're heading out, folks, to take extra care if you're in the sunshine. What's it like up your neck of the woods, Chris? Is it a lovely old day today?
It's shaping up to be nice. I've been out already this morning on the nursery run. It could be quite toasty later on, so I might see how the day goes. Might take a few phone calls in the garden later on.
Good stuff. Excellent. Lots of Rangers news to get stuck into. Before we do that, quick word, as ever, for our podcast sponsors, the great guys at Willows Fencing, the Glasgow-based fencing company you can trust. Proud partners of the Rangers Review. They've got over 20 years of experience and unparalleled quality. Their qualified team is dedicated to keeping customers happy and providing exceptional work, aiming to deliver nothing but perfection in every job. They're offering free consultations as well as a 10% discount code when you use Rangers Review in the little box on their website at willows-fencing.com. So if you want a fence, folks, these are the guys to call. Where shall we start? We'll start on the news that emerged yesterday, not long after me and Joshua came off air, and that was that Rangers have been paired with Panathinaikos in the second qualifying round for the Champions League. It's fair to say that was the team that many were hoping to avoid from the possible scenarios. The first leg as well will be taking place at Ibrox either the 22nd or 23rd of July. The return in Athens on the 29th or the 30th. Got to say, Chris, given that Rangers were seeded for this, the fact that they're expected to play at home first doesn't really sit too well with me. I don't really understand how much of an advantage Rangers get here, but there you go. It's going to be a tough test.
Like you, I don't really see what the benefit was of being seeded. Now, Rangers are obviously seeded for a reason. They have got those coefficient points for a reason because they've done very well in Europe over recent seasons. Don't really get any benefit out of it at this stage. It's a difficult tie. It's the one I think people wanted to avoid. I think the manager and the staff and the players would probably have wanted to avoid it for a number of reasons as well. But that's the one they've got. That's the one they've been given. That's the one they have to try and get through. I think as we touched on the other day, myself and Stevie spoke about on the talking point over the weekend. These qualifiers look rather ominous for Rangers, and of course, as we had on the site over the weekend, that excellent piece from the guys at Scotland's Coefficient. If they would drop out at this stage, you would then be unseeded in the next round of Europa League qualifiers, and there are some tricky ties potentially. I think if the team had been settled and the manager had been in place for a long time and you only needed one or two players, you would fancy your chances of getting through a couple of these rounds. Of course, Rangers don't. They are completely unsettled. They are completely new. There's so much work being done, and it does look a rather tricky road. I think if they were to get to the group stages of this competition, it would be a remarkable achievement. I don't think anyone would give them any chance of that at all. Try and get through the first one and then take it from there. But as we've said, even before last season finished, time is of the essence. The clock is ticking. Now these fixtures, they will be here before we know it. And there's a lot of work to be done on this squad before then.
Yeah, there certainly is. There was a comment that came in, and we touched on this sort of squad readiness yesterday when I was on with Joshua. Teddy Bears says, is there a deadline date that our squad has to be registered for Champions League qualifying? I believe it's the 17th, if I'm not mistaken, Chris. I think it's sort of the week before. I've seen reported somewhere, so I believe it's round about then is when Rangers need to submit their squad for that qualifying round. I think they're then able to register other players if they make it past at that stage. But Panathinaikos, the team that Rangers will face, they're not exactly unbeatable. They had a pretty disappointing season last season. They finished second, well behind Olympiacos. They made it to the round of 16 in the UEFA Conference League. They've had some decent results, but I think if this, as you say, Chris, if this was a Rangers team, it's a team that has gone to various venues in Europe before and got results. So there is that. I definitely think it's a winnable game, but it's going to be a tough one given the changes at Ibrox and all that jazz. So one for your diaries, folks. Rangers should confirm, you'd imagine, at some point later about the date for the matches. I know that Panathinaikos tweeted the 22nd and 29th, but we'll wait that official confirmation before we find out when those matches will take place. Moving on from that, other news, let's move on to news that emerged yesterday, Chris, on John Souttar. It's fair to say it's sparking debate online. Not many people pleased at this. Apparently, John Souttar, he has undergone surgery for a hernia issue. And he went down to London for an operation last week, said to be successful. But there is a bit of confusion as to why he's gone down there at this time and not at the end of Rangers' season. Or I've seen some suggesting that he should have went for the operation after Rangers were knocked out of the Europa League by Athletic Bilbao. He went and played two, let's be honest, bounce games, meaningless games for Scotland, which has left many pretty irate and angry at this. Now, he now faces a race against time, as I say, because this Champions League qualifier on the horizon. Optics don't look good in this, Chris.
I think we can only decide how angry we're going to be once the team lines are announced for that Panathinaikos game. If John Souttar is on the pitch that night, which if he's fit he will be, I don't see Rangers signing enough centre halves to suddenly put him right down the pecking order. If he's available, then it's all worked out fine. If he's not available, then that puts a very different slant on the situation, and people will rightly ask questions. Someone at the club last night said that the surgery had gone well and it was anticipated he'll be back for the Panathinaikos game. Anticipated is the key word there. If he is back, so this whole furore calms down a wee bit. If he's not back and Rangers are short of, which as it stands is their best centre half, that puts a very different slant, I say, on this entire situation and on this entire story. And John and the manager and people at the club will have questions to answer over it. So time will tell on this one. I think in a wider sense, defence, as we've spoken about, it's such an issue for Rangers. They do need reinforcements at centre half. You can't really bring into a game against Panathinaikos with Robin Proper, who will move on at some point, and Siala, for example. That's not a partnership that's going to give you any confidence heading into those games. You're looking at Souttar plus a new recruit, ideally. Also, that new recruit has not happened. As we've reported on the site the last few weeks, there was interest in Burgess from Ipswich. That move's not materialised. Also, Harry Darling was one that was of interest as well. That move didn't materialise. So centre half, it's an area that Rangers are looking to strengthen. I think they need more than one. Will they get more than one in before that Champions League game? Who knows? Time will tell. But there's a lot riding on John Souttar's fitness for that game in so many ways.
Yeah, if it was an issue he picked up whilst on international duty, fair enough. But if this was in the pipeline and he's gone and played for Scotland, it baffles me why he's decided to do that. It's Rangers that pays the guy's wages. He should have been away getting treatment soon, certainly as soon as Rangers' league campaign was over with. So not only that, I mean, Russell Martins came in there. This pre-season starting as well. Players coming back. Russell would like to have had the player from the beginning to work on certain things. So, doesn't look good. Let's hope he is back fit for that game. Let's actually hope that Rangers, as you touched on there, Chris, can strengthen in that centre-back position, because it's clear, I've said it before, that is the key area that Rangers need to improve upon this season, and pronto, because the games are just around the corner, and huge games at that as well. Moving on, transfer news, bits and pieces to get our teeth stuck into. Cyril Dessers reports over in Greece that there's no progress in the talks between AEK Athens and Rangers. Apparently, AEK Athens would like a fee less than €4.5 million, and Rangers said not to be happy to deal at that at the moment, but talks are ongoing. So, yeah, bit of a stalemate there, Chris. I think Rangers well within their rights to. They know what Cyril's valuation is, and AEK Athens obviously looking to get the player in on a fee that is good for them, beneficial for them. But I wouldn't be looking to sell him on the cheap.
That ties in with what we've reported and what we've had on the site a couple of times this week, talking about the Dessers situation. I think the reports from the Greek end earlier on in the week, and certainly towards the end of last week, that this was all signed, sealed, and it was going to happen. I think they were really, really premature. People seem to put a lot in those reports, but as far as we've understood it, and as we have reported, it's never been that far along the line. There is this gap in terms of valuation, in terms of the fee. As you say there, Rangers, they don't have to sell Dessers on the cheap. They don't have to just do a deal for the sake of it, just to get him off the books. I think he's a player that Russell Martin will look to work with. I think he's a player that could have a part to play under Russell Martin. Now, that doesn't mean to say that he'll definitely stay, so things could change. But certainly, as we understood it a few days ago, it was not a case of this deal is definitely going to happen and it's all but signed and sealed, and Cyril is packing his bags. So work to be done on that one, and we'll see how things develop over the course of the day and the next coming days.
Yep, Rangers well within their rights to stick to their guns with regards to this. One player that has been linked with the move a good few days ago now, you would have seen Max Aarons is how it's pronounced, not Aarons as I was saying, but he has been linked with a move to Rangers, Chris. By all accounts, reports suggest that Rangers want a loan deal, Bournemouth wanting a permanent transfer, and a bit of a stalemate there as well with regards to this. If you've not seen the video I recorded yesterday, folks, I had a Bournemouth podcaster on who was excellent, Sam Davis. He was superb, gave us some insight into Max and his time down there at the Cherries and why it hasn't quite worked out for him. But this is one that might not be close to completion. The club's not at an agreement stage, Chris.
Again, as we reported, I've lost track of the days, but was it Monday? I think that was Monday, was it? Or was it over the weekend?
Who knows?
I think it was Monday that one came out. Yes, as I say, as we had on the site and also had on the socials, there's an interest there from Rangers. He's a player that they like, that they would like to sign, but again, suggestions that it was all but done seemed a bit premature. It didn't seem as if it was that far along the line. That's one I think Rangers will keep at. I think they will like to try and get that deal done. At this stage, I think the fans just want any deals done, or they just want the player in. I think we saw this during the managerial search. There was this like growing need and growing desperation for just any news, for anything to happen, for any update, and I think they're all but at that stage now. They just want players in the door. That's the squad back in 4 days now. We've touched on the European deadlines, touched on the European dates, so there is a lot of players that have to come into this squad, and the sooner the better. So I think they will stick at that Aaron's deal, but it's not the only one that they're going to have to try and complete. The other one that we've had on the site over the last few days is Poku from Peterborough. And again, as we understand it, that deal's not quite done yet, and there is a bit of competition from the Championship from him as well. And Birmingham were linked and then seem to get pull out of that race. But again, we believe there's other Championship teams in for Poku as well, so that could drag on, which is always good. We like a transfer saga on this show, don't we?
You say sarcastically, get the players in the door. That's what people are screaming at their TVs, their tablets, their phones, all that sort of stuff. Furiously scrolling on their phones, looking for something. Rangers need players, we know that. And Poku's an interesting one. This is the waters that Rangers are shopping in, unfortunately, in the state of, not the club, but the fact that they play in Scotland, competing with players from the English Championship. Unfortunately, that's just the fact that the reality of matters here. Of course, we've seen a player earlier on in the window that was linked to Rangers over the weekend, Harry Darling, making the move to Norwich City. Rangers competing with Championship clubs who are able to pay really, really good wages to players. And of course, there is a prospect of that one step into the promised land of the Premier League as well. So, it's competitive out there. If Rangers want players, they need to sell the club to these guys and show them that it's beneficial for them to come up north and play in Scotland as opposed to being down south in the Championship. A few comments coming in just off the back of some of the points that we've been mentioning there. There's a point here from Bill. He says it's all getting a bit iffy. No agreed offers for sales, sticking points with players coming in. Worrying for me. And that is certainly echoed by many, Bill. It's fair to say Lyle Cameron, the only player in the door. You could technically say Oscar Cortez as well, but no new faces at this point in time. Maka with the point as well says there seems to be interest elsewhere in the players linked to us. Are we being used as a bargaining tool by agents again? Agents are predominantly in the game. It's just fact of life. You can have your opinion on football agents, Chris, but that is an issue Rangers have to deal with. It's part of the modern game.
It's also part of being a big club, and if you're a club that's going to generate interest, that's going to generate people talking about you, that's going to generate internet hits and clicks and social media likes and all sorts. If you are one of those clubs, and Rangers certainly are, then your name is always going to get thrown in. I think we make the point on the show, we make the point on the site that we try and be as accurate as possible in terms of our reporting, and in terms of certainly on transfers. There's a lot of names, there's a lot of rumours, there's a lot of speculation. Not every player that's linked with Rangers will sign. Not every rumour that comes up is true. So that's just part of the transfer window. It's part of our job here to try and sort through the.
Probably your busiest time is working at the Rangers Review, Chris, isn't it? It's just bonkers.
It has been fairly busy over the last 6-7 months or so, obviously with a takeover and then a manager out and a manager in. There's been extra things on top, but transfers, they always attract a bit of attention. It's what people love to talk about. Everybody loves a good rumour and a good transfer deal. So again, that's why we're here, to try and kind of cut through some of the noise, some of the nonsense that and it does unfortunately go around online at times. And again, when you're a club like Rangers who needs as many players, you're going to be linked with a lot of players. You're going to be scouting a lot of players. You're going to make a lot of initial phone calls to agents, a lot of initial phone calls to clubs, and these things are going to get out. So I think it's important that people keep a sense of realism and a sense of understanding of how these things work. Deals will get done. Rangers will sign players. I know everyone wants it to have happened yesterday, but that's not the case. And time will tell when Rangers do actually make that first signing. But we've heard nothing to suggest that they won't go through the size of rebuild that we all expect and that we all think the squad actually needs.
A couple of comments coming in. Logan No Fingers says Poku plus another 2 or 3 by Monday, and I'll be relatively happy at the start, but still need 3 to 4 on top of that as a minimum. And John Robertson says, I'm not shouting at my screen, get players in. I only want players that improve our team, not just sign any old dross. So, yeah, get your point there, John, as well. I think the fans would like to see it. There's players, but I think they want to see, with the new takeover, new owners, of course, in place there, folk want to see a marquee signing. Folk want to see money being spent and a proper statement signing coming in. So I think Rangers need, in terms of that, comment earlier from Logan, I think they need about 3 or 4 statement signings if they've got any ambition to win the league next season, Chris. As we touched on, that squad graphic the other day that Joshua produced on social media created a bit of a frenzy. It is devoid of serious quality in there.
There's a lot of players in there that you would quite happily move on and that don't have a long-term future at this club. I think, as we said last week, don't expect 25 out and 25 in. That's completely unrealistic. Some of the players that were on that graphic, they will still be part of this squad. They may not all be starters. I think some of them probably will be. Not all of them are going to be starters. Some of them will be squad players. Some of them will be moved on. There's a lot of work that needs done on this squad. You've got guys like Dill, Davies, Cifuentes. We know about them. Rangers have to move them on to get a bit of money back in. It can then be reused on other deals. They have to recycle those wages and use them in a better way. You've then got your big ticket items. Now, what happens with Raskin? What happens with Diomande? What happens with Hamza Agaman? If they were to leave, that big holes in the squad that they have to be filled. I get your point about a statement signing. I think the fans would like to see someone that come in that's got a bit of a higher profile, that's played at a high level, or that's got a lot of potential that can really progress and improve and make Rangers a tidy profit. I think you probably will see someone like that, but how often do you see a signing like that in the middle of June? It's a long window. I know the timescales are against Rangers in terms of when the season starts in the Champions League. A lot of players are still on their holidays. A lot of players are still playing games from last season, never mind getting away on the holidays for this season. So yeah, it will take time for this squad to come together. It's not ideal given the size of the games that Rangers have coming up. If you were to miss out on the Champions League, that's a potential bargaining chip that you can then take off the table. If you're trying to pick up a player and he's swithering on, where do I go? What can a club offer me? If you can only offer Europa League football rather than Champions League football, that's a negative. The chances of Rangers being able to offer Champions League group stage football are fairly slim, you would think. So they do have to have a bit of patience. The whole squad is not going to be rebuilt by the first day of pre-season or by the first qualifier. Players have to come in before that, though. If we're sitting ahead of that first qualifier and there's maybe only one in, then questions will be asked about the process and why it's not been turbocharged a wee bit. If we get to the end of the window and Rangers still haven't done enough business, again, you can then ask those questions. But I don't think you can sit on the 19th of June and write off the summer transfer window when there's still 2.5 months of it to go.
Yeah. The issue is, I mean, you can cite other clubs and not much business has been done, but not all clubs are having to play 3 qualifiers for the Champions League and having to start their season in the middle of July as well. So that is this slight deviation with Rangers with most clubs, you could say. So, time is ticking, as we say. Other news you will have seen. Dave McCallum, who has been acting as a sort of academy director at Auchenhowie, Chris, it looks like he's on course to be appointed on a permanent basis. Kevin Thelwell, by all accounts, has come in and seen the role that he's carrying out and seems pretty impressed with how he is operating there. Thoughts on that?
Slightly surprised a wee bit. I thought they might go down a different road. I thought they might decide to bring someone new in to oversee this new era, if you like, of the academy. Josh has reported quite extensively on the changes at that level in terms of what Rangers are going to do next season. Obviously, won't have the B team. They will have a younger second string to try and had this conversation a number of times, but try and bridge that gap between the most promising youngsters and then how they then make that progress into the first team. It's an area that Rangers haven't quite mastered, that Scottish football hasn't quite mastered so far. So there's a lot of work to be done in that regard as well. I thought they might go down a different road and, I say, bring someone new into that role, but you have to say it's a bit of continuity there. If Kevin Thelwell believes that David McCallum is the right man for the job, then you have to trust him, you have to back him on that, and time will tell whether that proves to be the right call or not. But I think it's important that there is just someone in that role. Mr. Davey has been overseeing that in a head of academy role on an interim basis for quite some time now. They had to have a permanent appointment in there. Being an interim role, it's fine. You can still get things done, but it's not the same as saying, "This is my job. This is my department. This is how we're going to run it." There's been a large degree of just ticking over the last few months. Now that he's in, they can build the academy in his vision and the vision of Kevin Thelwell, and also the club and the kind of wider Rangers DNA as well. So interesting that they've gone for Davey. They obviously see something in him and what he can bring to that role. And I say we'll certainly have more on that on the site over the coming weeks. And it's as I touched on there, it's a big season for the Rangers Academy in general, just to see how this new structure works. And of course, we'll keep right across that on the show and on the site.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to find out what that vision is, to be honest, because as we know, it's sort of downsized the B team. So what is the plans? Again, new owners coming in might want to expand it and make it more beneficial to the first team than what it has been for many years now. I don't think it's proven to be value for money for Rangers, so let's hope that they can sort of kickstart it into gear. We'll address a couple of points before we wrap up for the day. I like this. James says, who's training the goalies next week? Still, from all accounts, no goalkeeper coach in place there, Chris. Off the top of my head, I don't think that one's been confirmed. I think we'll just be taking shots into the goalies and doing their own thing, I'd imagine.
I have no official appointment on a Russell Martin goalkeeping coach yet. We also spoke about the coaching staff after they got appointed, and it is still just those two that we are at that confirmed at the press conference. So nothing else on Russell Martin's staff as far as we know. Again, a decision that has to be made and a role that has to be filled.
Yes, and Kenneth Forrest raises this point, and I've seen a clip of this the other day, sort of at left field, but he says, when in Scotland will we get the ref cam? I noticed this at the Club World Cup, which I have seen zero, apart from that ref cam little thing. Can you see the likes of Kevin Clancy, John Beaton getting cameraed up for games, Chris? Do you think that's a good idea?
It would be it would give us a talking point if nothing else. Like how we filled a lot of hours speaking about referees and about their decisions last season. Actually, I've not watched an awful lot of that tournament.
Get it in the bin, honestly.
I had it on a bit last night. I was sitting there a bit of work last night. Had it on in the background of the Real Madrid game, and that was the first time I'd actually noticed that the refs were wearing these cams so that you could see their point of view. It's a nice thing to have. Is it going to make a massive difference to the standard of Scottish refereeing? I don't think so. It's a nice thing. It's a bit of a gimmick to have, but given events on the last day of the season, if you're going to put cameras out somewhere, I'd rather stick cameras on the goal line so that we can tell that the ball had crossed said goal line, rather than have them on the referee's chest. So if there's money kicking around at Hampden, stick a camera on the goal line or stick a chip in the ball so we know when goals have been scored.
Yeah, ref cam. The only other clip. Well, it's not a clip, but I seen yesterday. Just a bonk. It just sums up the bonkers world we live in. I just seen. You'd have seen it on social media, folks. The Juventus team at the Oval Office, I think, behind Donald Trump, and reporters are asking them about Iran and bombing Iran, and then the Juventus players are just stood behind them. Just utterly surreal stuff. It was just crazy goings on over there. But I've not watched it. The trophy as well is a farce. Also, that key thing that only Infantino, I think, can open up. It's just not for me, but there you go. Right, that'll do us there. Big thank you to Chris, as ever. Thank you to you all for tuning in to the show. Very much appreciated, as ever. If you've not hit that subscribe button, folks, make sure you do it. You'll never miss a video when we go live. And lots of Rangers content we're producing over the course of the week already and beyond as well. If there's any developments from Ibrox, transfer-wise or whatever, make sure you subscribe not only to the channel, to the website, and keep your eyes peeled on the social media accounts as well. Right, enjoy your Thursday, whatever you are up to, and we'll speak to you later on. Bye for now.